Well, the interior minister, he has given a statement that my life is in extreme danger. And he is one of the suspects in the first assassination attempt. He was my main suspect. So when he says my life is in extreme danger, so you can imagine the situation.
What is happening now? Are you still expecting an imminent arrest?
Look, what's happening right now is basically the dismantling of our democracy. All the democratic institutions right now, which would prevent the sort of fascism that is going on, all of them are being dismantled. So the point is, if you ask me what's going to happen to me, I have no idea, because tomorrow there's a good chance that I'll be arrested. But more to the point, 10,000 of my workers and supporters are in jail today. And this sort of crackdown has never taken place. Worse, or the entire senior leadership is either in jail or is in hiding.
Yes.
And they've used this, arson took place when in some government buildings when I was abducted by the army, really, the Rangers are the army, when I was abducted from the precincts unlawfully of the High Court. Then there was this reaction, but they've used that reaction to impose the greatest crackdown in our history. It's never happened before. That they've tried to completely demolish the biggest political party in Pakistan.
Now tell me, Mr. Khan, if you are right, and I accept you don't know, but if you're right and there is another arrest, what will follow then? Do you expect more demonstrations and more violence on the scale that we've seen so far?
Well, I don't know. The question is, I really don't know, because I didn't even know what would happen once they abducted me from the High Court. I didn't know the sort of reaction. I thought, I imagined there would be peaceful protests, because our party for 27 years has always been peaceful. And one of the reasons is that we have large number of families and children and women who participate in our protests. So whenever you have women participating in protests in Pakistan, they're always peaceful. So what happened when I was in jail, I have my suspicion. I think there should be an independent investigation. They will find out that there were spoilers inside who deliberately created this, the arson, especially of the Corps Commander House, we believe, because you can easily see the faces who were egging on the people, and it wasn't our people. All our office bearers were saying, stay peaceful and not enter the house. So the answer to your question is, I have no idea what will happen. The sort of crackdown that has taken place, I think they've cracked down now because they now think that once they re-arrest me again, everyone who's who in PTI will already be in hiding or in jail, so there would be much of a reaction.
Yes. Now, to be clear, Mr. Khan, are you saying that the violence that we've seen after the demonstrations, there was arson, there was violence, 9 people were killed? Are you saying that was entirely the work of government agents, or do you believe it may have been the work of supporters of yours at demonstrations which became violent?
First of all, let me say, in 27 years, my party has never indulged in violence. When the assassination attempt took place on me, and when 12 of our people got bullet wounds, and they saw me, with these bullet wounds going to hospital, there were demonstrations. But surely, if there were violent demonstrations should have taken place, it should have been them. But there were no arson or anything. There were just people demonstrated, but there was no violence. So we are now, all of us, the more we have looked into it, we are convinced that this was pre-planned, that they wanted to show this, blame the violence on us, and then this crackdown, justify this crackdown.
Yes.
Because this was all planned. How could you, without even having an independent investigation? There are 25 people we believe have been shot dead by bullet wounds, all of them unarmed protesters. There has been no investigation into this. All we want is an independent investigation of what happened. But all they are talking about since this, the violence took place, all they are saying is that PTI should be banned as a party that promotes violence, and this crackdown, and there's no investigation.
Now you describe the regime as behaving in a fascistic way. The courts intervened after your last arrest. Is it your view the courts are defending principles of democracy in Pakistan now?
Look, the only thing in the way which is stopping this country going into complete fascism are the superior courts. All we have now are democracies hanging by this thread, which is the Supreme Court, which we have all our hopes on now. Because, even the Supreme Court and the decisions of the Supreme Court are discarded by the government. I mean, the Supreme Court ordered elections to be held in Punjab, which is 60% of Pakistan, on the 14th of May. The government discarded it. So our people go to get bail from the courts. The moment they get bail, they go out, they get rearrested again. So, the only hope still are the courts, and especially the Supreme Court. Otherwise, every other institution of democracy has been dismantled.
What is your advice now as we wait for the next stage to take place? What's your advice to your supporters? If you are arrested, there will, you'd imagine, be more demonstrations, more violence, possibly many more arrests. Is it your advice to your supporters to stay low, to keep a low profile and avoid the danger of arrest and avoid violence? What do you say to them?
Well, definitely avoid violence, because the moment there is any violence, it gives this government an excuse to then crack down on them. So, but this has always been my advice to my supporters. We don't need violence. This is the biggest political party in Pakistan's history. Our rating are over 70% now. Out of the 37 by-elections, we have swept 30 of them. We don't need violence. Parties that have a huge vote bank want peace, want elections. They don't want violence. Violence is being perpetuated on us by those who are petrified of elections.
Right, let me ask you about the future and your future, as well as your country's future. There are something like over 100 charges against you now. Is it inevitable that you will be arrested, you will be jailed now? What's your view on that?
Well, there are 150 cases. I've got my century and a half of cases now. And remember, someone for 50 years who's been in public eye, who never had one case on him. I mean, in the last few months, not only 150 cases, but 15 criminal cases in a day, 40 terrorist cases. So what they hope is that in one of the cases, they will jail me. But the moment it goes into the court, these are such frivolous cases, the court throws them out. And so they come up with more cases. But I'm afraid the way things are going right now, I just think that they will just find some reason to jail me. And tomorrow I'm appearing in various cases in Islamabad. And I feel there's a very good chance that they will jail me.
In which case, more violence is perhaps inevitable, maybe more killing, and certainly many more arrests.
The message is loud and clear to my party that there has to be no violence. In fact, I have actually told them to just lie low right now, because anything to do with PTI is thrown into jail. I mean, never have so many women been jailed in our history. I mean, in this country, it is unheard of that hundreds of women have been put in jail. And for what? For holding placards saying, protect Pakistan and protect its constitution. Just holding those placards, women have been put in jail.
What is the future now for your PTI party and for democracy in Pakistan?
Look, the democracy right now is in doldrums because it looks like martial law right now. I mean, the country has basically been run by the army chief now. But the future of democracy is very bright in Pakistan. And the reason is that no matter what you do, no matter what sort of draconian measures you have, you cannot stop a party that has 70% of the vote bank in the country. You just cannot stop it by these measures because the vote bank doesn't go away. So whenever you have elections, in fact, the sympathy factor has grown. The vote bank, if anything, has grown. So if a party has a vote bank, it's only a matter of time before, there are elections, whatever sort of elections, and the party will win.
Right. Now, what about you, Mr. Khan? I mean, you were barred from holding office after the Electoral Commission found that you were guilty of accepting, selling gifts, expensive gifts for some millions of pounds. What about that accusation? What about that ban?
It is a complete joke, that case, and it's already in the High Court, and there is no question that this case will be thrown out because it was a ridiculous case. The other cases, which I will be going tomorrow, and it's about I set up a trust and they're saying I benefited from that trust without showing how, because the trust deed itself says that a trustee can have no financial benefit at all, salary or anything. That's the trust deed. And so, I mean, these are the two, out of 150, these are the two corruption cases. Yeah. So whenever it goes into court, it will be thrown out.
Last question. Is there a risk in your mind, after what has happened to you in the past, is there a risk that you could be killed?
Well, there is, yes, because one attempt I survived with these 3 bullets in my leg. The other time I was even luckier because there was a whole trap to kill me on the 18th of March when I went into this judicial complex to get a bail. And, anyway, I was very lucky to get away alive. The risk is because they are so worried that PTI will win the elections whenever the elections take place. And even if I'm jailed, they feel that the party will still win. So therefore, I think that's why the 2 assassination attempts on me, because they think if they remove me from the scene, then only PTI minus Imran Khan would be, I guess, palatable for them.
So you fear a real danger of you being assassinated?
Well, the Interior Minister, he has given a statement that my life is in extreme danger. And he's one of the suspects in one of the first assassination attempt. He was my main suspect. So when he says my life is in extreme danger, so you can imagine the situation.